Hi there, welcome to episode 146 of the WaveBack Music Podcast. My name is Kris.
And I'm Matt.
And we're here to listen to the most interesting video game music there is. Way back in April of 2015, I had just started this show. For my second episode, I decided to cover Mega Man X. And I did so with a limited playlist as a solo host, and I streamed the whole thing live online with the help of DJ Vestlord. I was seriously, that was a thing. I was still learning, and as such, I feel I did a disservice to this game's absolutely legendary soundtrack. But it's time to fix that. Charge up your X Buster, because tonight we're listening to the music of Mega Man X for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Well, hi there, Matt.
Hi there, Kris.
How you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm okay. I was doing a little work this morning, and as prep for this show, I decided to boot up the old episode from 2015 because I remember doing the streaming. I forgot how we didn't know what we were doing so much back then. It was, I think, I had Dean on the other end as DJ Vestlord. And as the episode was going, I was feeding him the music files that he would then stream. But like I didn't preload them somewhere. I was giving them to him like on a song by song basis, I think. It seemed like a really bad idea.
There's so much that could go wrong there.
And I got up to the part where I think it was on the third song, and then it's just me saying, "Hold on a minute, something's going wrong here. Wait a second." I don't know why. One, I have no idea why I didn't edit that out. And two,
I mean,
oh boy. Those were the days.
That sounds like, I mean, but you skin your knees in the beginning and you learn, and you got to make those mistakes. So.
Yeah, and it was fun. I like doing live stuff. No question. But maybe jumping into doing this live for my second episode was a little ambitious.
Yeah.
And I also I stuck with a really hard limit of like the number of songs or the amount of time I was willing to dedicate to an episode. And because of that, I skipped a ton of great music from this soundtrack. And I remember that like 2 or 3 people that were listening live with it were like, this is your show. You can do whatever you want. You're not limited to this amount of time. You want to do all the songs, do it. I'm like, it's not a bad idea. I probably
My
should
God,
just
you're right.
There doesn't need to be this limit. It was like I said, we were all learning, but
green is grass.
Yes, indeed. That is what green is. Gumby himself.
Yeah.
Man, I loved Gumby when I was a kid. Anyway, before we get too off topic, we do have a lot of songs to cover because I'm skipping very few of them on the list tonight. So let's do a quick. We're not going to do real game history, so we covered that the first time. Back in episode 2, I did a fairly deep dive into the game's history and its composer and all that stuff back in the original episode, so we're not going to go too deep into it this time. We'll be spending that time listening to more of the game's soundtrack, but I do, of course, just as a refresher, want to give a quick mention to the composer, Setsuo Yamamoto, whose other works include Street Fighter Alpha, Rival Schools, several Monster Hunter games, some Resident Evil, lots of Capcom work. Hi there, folks. I need to make a quick correction here. I almost made a pretty big mistake regarding this soundtrack's credits. It turns out that several different people were actually involved in this game's soundtrack. The majority of it is credited to Setsuo Yamamoto. We got a couple of other songs here, like the Password theme is credited to Toshihiko Horiyama. Chill Penguin stage credited to Yuki Iwai. Boomer Kwanger stage is credited to Yuko Takehara. Spark Mandrel and Storm Eagle are credited to Makoto Tomozawa. And that's pretty much it. Now back to your regularly scheduled programming. So Matt, what is your personal history with Mega Man X?
Okay, so I started with Mega Man 2, but, for the NES, and I played 1, I think my cousin had it or whatever, and I played a few of them through the years. I always found them hard as a kid, and actually as an adult, but when the Super Nintendo came out, a bunch of us, me and my friends, got it, got the system, and, then, I think my buddy got a Mega Man X. I didn't. I never owned it. But you swap cartridges, so we traded, and I played it, and I absolutely loved it. It was everything I loved about the original Mega Man, just with like beautiful 16-bit graphics, and like I love the way Mega Man looked, all 16-bitted. It was a fun game that I've been they have them on like the Xbox games store and stuff, and I always pass by and I'm like, kind of want to.
Yeah, those collections are tough because I don't like any other Mega Man X games. I wish I did.
Yeah.
But I love the first one's one of my favorite games ever. It is such a good game. And I will say, do the sequels.
I don't think I've ever played the sequels, actually. Like I'm sitting here trying to think about it, and I don't know. I'm 90% sure that I've never played anything other than Mega Man X. Maybe I played Mega Man X2, but I didn't play anything beyond that. But yeah, Mega Man X was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that game was a freaking revelation, and it was fun re-listening to that episode from April of 2015. Me going through my history of I took a trip to a local rental store called Shure Video, and they had that. And I was like, Mega Man 10 X? What is this?
What is this?
I remembered seeing all these pictures of it in magazines, and I had the same exact thought. Be like, I don't understand what is happening with this game, but
yeah, what am I looking at? Yeah.
I'm into it, and I was like totally weirded out. This, when you boot it up and you don't get a character select screen right away. And I was like, I don't know about this, but like within that split second of it starting a stage without going to the character select screen, but also then hearing that music, it was like, never mind, I'm in. Never mind, I love this, and it's so good. It feels so good. It looks amazing. The sound was just out of control good, and the soundtrack is just stupid good. And I really wish I liked the sequels. I forced myself to finally finish 2 last year, and I got through most of 3, but I wasn't having a very good time. I was liking it a little more than 2, but I wasn't really enjoying the music. I think the soundtracks are definitely what's hurting me on the sequels. I don't think they're anywhere near as good as this one.
Right.
I remember kind of liking 4. That was the PlayStation one, so it really looked cool. And I think you could play as Zero and stuff. And then 5 and 6 were like, I didn't even try them because I didn't really get very far in 4. And then 7, they went 3D and introduced Axel as like the main character.
Right.
And that didn't look good at all. And then apparently 8 fixed a lot of 7's problems, but
you're just so far removed from it, you said, nah, forget it.
Yeah, and then they did that remake for PSP, which I was so excited for because they did 2 Mega Man remakes on PSP. They did Mega Man Powered Up, which was a remake of the first Mega Man, and that was phenomenal, but everyone hated it because the art style was like super chibi. The actual game itself was really freaking good. Like, and they did this crazy awesome job of redoing the soundtrack, and you could, if you beat the bosses without using special weapons on them, you would take them back to Light Labs, and if you wanted to, you could start a new game and play as those characters. So Mega Man would be one of the robot masters that Wily stole, and then you'd play through the whole game as Gutsman or something. Which was really cool. Had like a level created. That game was amazing. And so they remade Mega Man X as well. I was on one hand immediately put off because it was all polygonal, and the art direction is so wonderful anime on the Super Nintendo. It being polygonal, I felt like lost a lot of its personality, but what really kicked me in the teeth was I didn't like the music. I thought I was so excited to hear them, like a really modern re-recording of those songs, and kind of like that Secret of Mana remake that they did, they remixed the songs and kind of changed what was good about them and kind of overcomplicated them. And I was man, you didn't have to do any of that. All you had to do was it's like kind of Final Fantasy VII remake, Yeah. Just take this, the game that everyone, just do that, but make it prettier. Just do that, but modern. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's already darn near perfect. Not that I'd like Final Fantasy VII at all, but still, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, we can agree to disagree, but okay.
Well, there's no arguing that I don't like Final Fantasy VII. Okay. I'm not saying it's a bad game. It's just not for me. Great soundtrack, though. Killer soundtrack in that game.
Agreed.
But anyway.
Yes, we're not talking about that game.
Yeah, I said we were going to get right to the music, and then I spent a bunch of time talking, because, hi, I'm from New Jersey.
I don't see how one has anything to do with the other, but okay, your show, man.
Dan says this every time on Stone Age Gamer. It's apparently it's because we're from New Jersey that we just can't shut up. So I'm physically incapable of shutting up, especially about topics that I like. So let's get to work.
Yes.
First track we're going to listen to is the opening stage, and I still think this might actually be my favorite song in the entire soundtrack. It's one of my favorite 16-bit songs ever. It's like the most actiony, invigorating thing ever. This song rules to the extreme. And the original version is still my favorite version of it. It's been reprised in several different avenues over the years, including a great remix from Smash Brothers. But man, this original Super Nintendo version just absolutely nails it. So let's go ahead and give a listen to Opening Stage from Mega Man X. Enjoy. Was Opening Stage, one of the best game openers I've ever heard in my life. Man. I think what I love so much about that one is the way, I mean, not only we were talking about seeing this game for the first time, being excited about how Mega Man was in 16-bit and all that jazz, but the way that the rhythm guitar drives the cadence of the song. You know what I mean? That part right there drives so much of this song's rhythm, combined with the regular drum beat and whatnot, and the way when the drum beat eventually breaks down to like sort of like cut time when it's doing all those weird fills and stuff. But that rhythm guitar is still maintaining that same rhythm. It gives the whole thing a very good driving feel, and I just love it to death. But also the fact that it sounds so much like a guitar. It sounds so much, especially given the time period that this came out in. This sounds so much like real instruments playing it. It was totally mind-blowing.
So I don't know that I agree that it sounds exactly like guitar, but
no, it doesn't sound exactly like guitar. I mean, for the time, it sounds so much more real than anything we had gotten prior as far as sounding like a guitar in a video game.
Yeah, sure. Definitely. I don't disagree. That sound honestly makes me smile in like a cheesy way, like, aw, all right, guys. And to me, it's the driving force of the song, apart from like the really kind of breakneck, punk drummy kind of move, just go. But I really like, personally, I really like the the synthesizers more, like the stuff that kind of sits on top, and then they're playing those frilly little fills and stuff,
like kind of like the string sound that's in the background. It's all high pitched, hanging out in the background, giving that little flair of epicness.
Yeah, that's the stuff to me that I don't know, really sells the soundtrack that marries to the game. You're essentially a little boy robot, kicking the teeth in of other robots, and it's supposed to be futuristic and stuff. So like some of those synthesizers really sell that to me.
Yeah, this one was very more like Mega Man was when you were just a little boy fighting robots, and this always struck me like the X series was more of the emo teenager X, This soundtrack is dripping with this, especially when you get to the melodrama of some of the upcoming songs. It's just like there was so much melodrama. It was so melodramatic anime, and it was like that was the coolest thing in the world when I was a kid. And it's still fun now. It's just a little it hits differently now looking at some of the dialogue boxes.
Yeah, it's 15, 20 years later, and you're like,
Did he say damn? What?
He's growing up.
Oh man, this is a game for grown-ups. Am I allowed to play this?
Well, I'm not going to say anything. Shh, But yeah, definitely. I mean, it definitely. That's another thing too. I think the soundtrack definitely gives the impression that Mega Man's older now, and because I feel like the soundtrack got a little more sophisticated, and I guess we'll see coming up, in other tracks. We'll see if that's truly the case, or I'm just remembering it wrong. I don't know. Both are totally possible, honestly. Yeah, but yeah, I like it as an opening track. Honestly, it's a good introduction to what you're about to go up against and stuff. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's very this whole soundtrack, almost the entire soundtrack is very guitar driven.
Yeah,
which is pretty neat. Again, considering the time when this came out, and like the NES couldn't get anywhere near replicating an electric guitar, and like the Sega Genesis electric guitars usually just sounded like fart noises. So this was like, okay, this is an analog. I can make that mental connection. This sounds like a guitar. It still sounds like 16-bit instruments, but it was so impressive to me back when it came out. So, all right, let's move on to the next track. This is Zero, and right, okay. So this is Zero's theme. This is the one where you're fighting Vile for a minute, and he's just kicking the snot out of you, and then Zero comes and blows off his arm and saves the day. So here is the Zero theme. Enjoy. There's Zero's totally badass, long blonde ponytail, saving the day theme.
Very, who was that handsome man?
Why does he have a ponytail? What purpose does that serve? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's just awesome. That's why. And this was before he even had a lightsaber, Like,
right.
This is when Zero just was his only awesomeness was that he was red and he had a ponytail, because that's all you needed to be awesome.
Very, very shocking. What's the word? Attention grabbing color and the ponytail.
Yes, indeed. He was such a cool character, and comes out and because you start the game feeling all awesome, man, I'm blowing all these robots up. Dude, you blow up those giant bug helicopter things, the ground falls underneath you and you fall down. You felt so powerful, and then you get to this Vile character and he just mops the floor with you, and then Zero scares him off like it's no big deal. Wow, power dynamic in this game just whew.
Yeah, you're so beefy and then not. You're like,
yeah.
Oh, all right.
And you realize you're kind of low man on the totem pole. Zero's like, hey, you just run along home, X, you're gonna be fine. I got this. But yeah, I mean, there's not much to that song other than enjoying how the pitch change kind of makes the guitar instrument sound kind of silly the higher it gets. But outside of that, just love it. Just love it.
Yeah, it's it's kind of very I don't know, cheese. No, I don't want to say cheesy, but it's like it's like the edgelord music. You know what I mean? That's what Zero is.
Right.
He's an edgelord. Like he's one of the early edgelords, and like you give him some edgy edgelord music, and that's what that is.
Yeah, you're 100% right.
It's kind of dark. It's kind of dark. It's kind of brooding. Sorry, I didn't realize my ringer was on.
That is okay. All right, well, now we get to listen to the real melodrama. Now we get the real, just the beef of it here. This is the Zero rescue. So this is when he's giving you the pep talk after he blows up Vile's arm and he flies away. This is some classic anime edgelord. Don't worry, it's gonna be okay. Music.
I've got this.
Here is Zero Rescue. Enjoy. That is Zero Rescue. How'd that song make you feel?
I like it a lot. It's there's a level of like what do you call it? Like anime style to it in some degree. But I really like it because I think personally it calls back to a lot of the old Mega Man soundtracks. There's a very heavy like through line, I think, that I hear at least with the old Mega Man soundtracks. It definitely reminds me of like some older like 8-bit stuff, but on a 16-bit level, which is fantastic. It just it sounds great. Its quality is gorgeous. Everything that like everything from composition to instrument choice that makes up this track is just freaking great.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the sound quality. That was definitely one of the things that really hit me about this soundtrack in particular, because as the Super Nintendo, when it first launched, you got a lot of the stuff that sounded really crisp, but later you would get different companies would start messing with the system to try to get stuff out of it that they weren't very good at the compression. You'd get this really compressed sounding stuff that sounded like really crisp coming out of a Genesis, but even though you'd have like it's a more realistic sounding instrument coming out of the Super Nintendo, it's super muted and kind of fuzzy sounding. And this was a really, really great balance. Like Capcom really just nailed so much good sound. I mean, they really nailed it on the NES, and they really did such a great job on the Super NES too. And it's wild thinking about the different direction this took when you compared to like Mega Man 7, which was the first mainline Mega Man game on the... Well, I guess soccer technically came first, but that's a weird one. But the first proper like numbered Mega Man mainline series game was Mega Man 7 on the Super Nintendo, and it also had these really crisp instruments, but they went in a totally different direction, kind of keeping more in the musical styling of the NES game, very video gamey sounding, instead of going the quote unquote hard rock route that this game took. But I do really, really enjoy that song. It's wonderful. But the next song is another one of my favorites, and it is an outlier, to say the least. Nothing else in this soundtrack sounds anything like this wonderful, jaunty tune. I love this song so much. It just sticks out like a sore thumb through the rest of this soundtrack. But I mean it in the best way possible. I love this tune. Because you know me, I love super happy video game bouncy tunes, and this password theme is just just a delight, especially on the screen where it shows up. Still big numbers and little metal guys popping out of their helmets real quick. And their helmets bounce up and down a little bit before they hide back in. It's so adorable. Anyway, this is the password theme from Mega Man X. Enjoy! I know it's such an outlier, but that song just really tugs at my heartstrings. I just love it so much. It reminds me so much of the password music from older Mega Man games, like Mega Man 3, where it was like, here's this surprisingly jaunty little tune in the middle of your rather invigorating soundtrack. But that, just the instrument choices and everything with that, it's not just fun, it's also, it's got a really pretty tone to it, and it just fills me with this nostalgic joy of playing and experiencing this game for the first time. And like, while it was hitting you with all this kind of darker, more grown-up stuff, every now and then it would hit you with, like, you'd finish a stage and then you'd go back to this happy little tune, just kind of reminding you, like, it's just a video game, have a good time. And I don't know, I love this song with every shred of my being.
It's such, it's outlier is definitely the word. It's such a different piece of music from everything, but in like the best possible way. Like, I think sometimes you need, you know, to your point about your experience, I think sometimes you need a little palate cleanser, because you know, I can remember being very intense playing this game, like you know, like laser focused and trying to really finish a level. You know, sometimes you get stuck in those loops where you run up against the wall and you can't pass it, and you just and you die and you come back and you die and you come back and you just keep doing it. So then sometimes what I think is necessary is something silly like this. You know, sometimes as an adult now, and I play and I get caught up in those situations, I will pause the game and I will palate cleanse with something completely different. Like I'll jump online for 5 seconds and look at like a stupid, you know, video on Facebook or IG or whatever, and then it clears my head and I'm like, okay, great, and I get back into it, and then lo and behold, you know, I've passed the part for whatever, you know, whatever it is. It's an adorable little track, really. It's silly, it's just silly enough, I think, to kind of, you know, and then to tack on again to what you said before about the little, it's so cute, you know, you get these little visuals of the little robots with the helmets, and they're just kind of being the robots with the helmets and doing whatever it is they do, you know what I mean? Like, that's what they do. Got it. Great. Yeah, it's I like it. I like it.
Yeah, you just reminded me of the overarching question I have always had about the Mega Man games is, why didn't Wily just make all the Robot Masters out of whatever their helmets are made out of? Because they're completely indestructible.
It's, you know, you're not wrong.
Just put a bunch of thumbtacks all over the ground, because Mega Man can't step on a spike without exploding, and make all your Robot Masters out of whatever the metal's helmets are made out of, and done. Wily wins. Of course, then we wouldn't have video games, but, you know, whatever. It's what it is.
Yes. Absolutely, yes.
Anyway, all right. Now back to our regularly scheduled, super awesome, rad guitar wailing solos and stuff. So I put these next tracks in the order of how I attack them when I play the game,
Okay.
I always go for the suit parts first, the armor parts first. So the first armor part that you get that you should always get are the boots, because then you can dash around like a crazy person, and the game becomes 10 times more fun because the dash move is awesome. And you get those in Chill Penguin stage, which is obviously an ice stage. I feel like we've had this on the show before as part of a winter special at some point.
I believe so.
I mean, we must have. But either way, Chill Penguin stage is fantastic, so let's listen to it. Enjoy. I like the way this game, this level plays with the stereo there. When that's kind of jumping back and forth is pretty snazzy sounding. I like all the instrument choice in this one. Very, very cool sounding song.
I like the time signature of it.
Yeah.
It's very, I mean, I don't know about Chill Penguin, but I think it's more like, yo, chill Penguin. Sorry.
Like chill comma penguin.
Yeah, like, hey, man. Oh, that reminds me of that grammar matters, and it's like stop clubbing baby seals, and then it's stop clubbing, comma, baby seals.
Or let's eat grandma.
Anyway. Sinewy. All right. So I'm a big fan of this track. And the English language. But I really do appreciate the time signatures of it. Because, I feel all too often with a game like a Mega Man or, Castlevania, you get these kind of four on the floor just driving pieces of music, and then, then the composers will mess around, I think, a bit with boss music and stuff, the sense of dread. But with these time signatures, it kind of gives you it gives you a different vibe, I think, and I think that works well with the idea of like an ice stage and stuff. We always do our winter special, and one of the things I always talk about is like crystalline sounds and get that winter sound, like cold, barren wastelands of the tundra and stuff. And this definitely is not that. I think it does a great job of, staying on track with, the futuristic motif, and yet still is, what's the word? Distinct enough to stand out on its own. Create that vibe.
Yeah, it's you're right about the it's less, like you said, four on the floor. I like that term a lot. It does kind of have a more reserved vibe to it, and the stage itself always feels so, because it's so open air, and you go through a cave in the middle part of it, but usually you start off and it's like snowy but not snowing, which I feel like isn't something you see a ton of in video games. I always feel like if it's snowy, it's usually snowing, and this is like, no, it's snowed, and there's snow everywhere. It's a good time.
Right.
It very much matches the feel of the stage, which itself isn't super fast paced, even though this is the stage that you get the boost in. The stage itself is a bit more methodical. Like, you do have to wait, like when those giant snowballs are coming at you at the end, you have to wait for one to pass and then go over it and blow up the machine and stuff. It's very, very well thought out song.
Yeah, absolutely.
So next up we have, the next stage that I go to is Storm Eagle stage, which is where you get the helmet, and also this stage is awesome because Storm Eagle is totally cool, and this theme is excellent and very like. There's this great video I got to send you of this YouTube page called Terminal Montage that did a whole thing that's a rock battle between X and Storm Eagle that are basically just doing a guitar battle of this song against each other, which is totally hilarious. But yeah, I'll link to that in the show notes. In the meantime, enjoy Storm Eagle stage. Woo! Not the longest loop ever, but what a song.
Yeah, I like it. It's such a... I hate to use the term butt rock because in like the metal community, butt rock means something completely different than the way I'm thinking of it. This is butt rock in that it makes me like kind of shake my butt. You know, you're like, it's kind of cheesy. You're like, you know, and like, you know, the guitars are the guitars, and you know, it makes me smile in like a goofy sort of way. Like, yeah, it's, you know, all right, I see what you're going for. And then like the problem is it's called Storm Eagle. So the first thing I think is like eagle, and then it makes me think of like all the cheesy times in films and television. Like Peacemaker's a perfect example, where it's like America, and they use an eagle, and then for some reason they use like 80s power metal as like the background. You know, when the eagle spreads its wings and like stars fly out of its butt. And
can we just take a second to appreciate the magnificence of the intro to Peacemaker?
Oh, you know, I'm glad you said that because I read this article. And I don't know if there's any truth to it. I think I tried to watch it after reading this article in the way they explained it. They claim that the intro dance routine is based very closely on the Space Invaders' enemies as they approach.
Oh man, I gotta study for that now.
Yeah, so I mean, I took it with a grain of salt. Maybe you guys do too, Kris as well. But kind of funny that you brought that we got here. It's a TV show that still came back to video games. Here we are. Man, that show is fun. Butt rock. It is. Big fan.
Yeah. Oh boy. All right. Well, let's keep trucking then.
Yes.
Boy, that song's fun. All right, next one is Flame Mammoth. This is where you use your dash boots and helmet combined to get the X Buster thing that shoots out the big pink wave of death, which is super fun. And this is an awesome stage, and this was the first stage I picked up on where it changes. I love this about this game. The stages change depending on which Robot Masters you do in which order. So, like, if you go to this stage regularly, it's got fire everywhere, but if you've beaten Chill Penguin already, then this stage is frozen over, and you can walk on the lava at the bottom and get a heart container and stuff. Such a cool idea. I love that the way that worked in this game. Like in Storm Eagle stage, for example, you fight Storm Eagle on this big ship that's flying through the air, and after you beat him, you watch the background, the ship starts going down super fast, and you teleport away. The ship lands on Spark Mandrel stage. So if you go to Spark Mandrel stage regularly, the lights are out and there's sparks going through the ground. But if you've beaten Storm Eagle stage first, all the platforms are busted, and you can get through to different places because the ship landed on it. You can see all these pieces of the ship that you fought Storm Eagle on the ground in the stage.
Holy cow! I never knew that.
It's so cool.
That's. I think I'm gonna have to go play this now. Jeez.
Yes.
I mean, that happens to me all the time. I had no idea. That's really, really cool.
Yeah,
that's
it's
super cool.
Loved that about this game. But anyway, here, let's listen to the Flame Mammoth stage. Enjoy! This game has a pretty decent bass line. Not like an amazing one, because it's not all that complicated, but it's very effective.
Yeah. I think, and that I think is what lends itself for me to the idea that I'd said before, like this kind of punk rocky thing. Mm-hmm. You know, you think, like when I think of punk rock, like the first things that come to mind is like, you know, the Ramones and, you know, bands at that time where the bass line was just like chugging along at the same breakneck speed, you know, to be just the arrow through the air. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I dig it though. I dig it a lot. There's, you know, I will keep pointing at the guitar and being like, "You're cute." Oh, look at you. But that's because I'm a snobby metalhead. But anyway, no. But seriously, it's still fun though. I mean, I think if the guitars were any more serious, it might change the overall vibe of the game. Like it would change, because it would change the sound, or excuse me, it would change the soundtrack of the game, which would then maybe butt right up against, you know, the overall design of the game, and that might actually be kind of detrimental. So I'll keep pointing at that guitar because you're the star. But it's a lot of fun. I like a lot of what's going on. This track actually almost gives me the feeling, because like the splash cymbals are kind of flat, so it almost makes me feel like they created the soundtrack with, you know, chintzy robots in mind. Like somehow they're making the soundtrack off of the discarded carcasses of the robots you blow up. If that makes any kind of sense.
I kind of like that idea. That's really cool.
Yeah. Big fan, though.
Awesome. Yeah, I like this one. It's never been like my favorite song in the game, but it's always been there are no bad ones here. Well, there's no bad music. And no. This was a fun one and a fun stage. Yep. So let's keep going to Sting Chameleon, which is where you get the fourth armor piece, and that is the actual chest plate armor, and you have to fight some weird looking green robot to do it. And this is another cool stage. This one, if you go back to this stage after beating Launch Octopus, it is flooded, and you can use that to get to one of the heart container pieces in the game. You have to fall down this hole that's like insta-death originally, but now that it's full of water, you can do a dash jump across this giant chasm and get a little bonus on the other side, which is super cool.
There you go.
So anyway, here's Sting Chameleon stage. Enjoy! Oh boy, yeah, that one stuck with me. I like that one. What did you think?
Definitely. I really like the tone of the lead instruments. Thank you. I'll be here all week, or at least till the end of the episode. I enjoy that sound. I don't know what it is about it, but it gives me the feeling of these discarded robots and stuff. But it definitely gives me the future, running through factories and busting down mechanized war machines and stuff. Like it has a great anime fun feel to it. It just keeps every track that plays, it just keeps reinforcing that for me. Mm-hmm. But I'm a big fan. So I actually really like that melody too.
Yeah, it's got a really solid melody to it.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of the stuff just from Mega Man in general, the Mega Man franchise in general, has some really great melodic hooks and stuff. Mm-hmm. Which just hats off to the composers. It's just you're just making great stuff.
Indeed, and helped make that series so gosh darn memorable.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to. Ooh, this is a good one. This is another one of those ones that really, it's very invigorating, very high energy track, and that is Spark Mandrel's stage, which is so cool. So let's give it a listen. Here's Spark Mandrel. Enjoy. Friggin' love that main melody of this song. I just love it. I know it's cheesy as heck, and I just don't care. It's so good.
It really is like super cheese, but that I think is its charm because it lends itself to that. How do I put this? It lends itself to that kind of butt rock, that kind of but at the same time, think. Tied in with its tempo, tied in with its other instrumentation, it gives it that solid punch right in the face. Mm-hmm. Definitely makes me it makes me sit here and bop my head, but if I were playing the game, I'd be bopping my head too. But at the same time, let's do this. You know what I mean?
It's very, very invigorating song. It's
yes.
Got the old harmonizing thing going on. It's not just a single a single guitar string playing. It's harmonizing with itself very, very loudly, very fun. just
very loudly.
I don't know what I'm saying.
It's just so obnoxious to itself.
It's a good time. Absolutely love it. Just love it to death.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, then we have Armored Armadillo stage. This is the one that I do next. I did Spark Mandrel next because he's the next character where you can just like easily beat him with one of the weapons that you had already, so that's where I go next. And then the character I go after that is Armored Armadillo because Spark Mandrel's weapon beats him, and this is the song that I hear more often than any other song in the game because this is the stage they have to play through, 5 times? You play through this 5 times in a row after you've gotten every item in the game. You do Armored Armadillo stage 5 times in a row, and you get the Hadouken, which is like the coolest power-up ever.
How do I not know this stuff?
Oh my god, it's the best. God, I can't remember. I think I learned this one in Electronic Gaming Monthly. You do this stage, and there's like one power-up at the end. You have to go through the stage and get that power-up 5 times. And the 6th time, you go there, and one of those Dr. Light capsules, you know those capsules that have Dr. Light chilling in them talking to you, where you get the... he's in there, but he's dressed like Ryu from Street Fighter.
What?
And he gives you the ability to throw a Hadouken, and as long as you have full energy, you have to get all the other items in the game first, but if you have full energy, you do the actual quarter circle attack, and Mega Man goes, Hadouken! And he throws a Hadouken.
He actually says Hadouken?
Actually says Hadouken in this cute little Hadouken voice, which is amazing.
Oh my goodness.
And it can kill anything with one hit.
Huh.
Anything in the game, including bosses, it'll one-hit kill anything. But you have to have full health, because if you take any hits at all, you're toast.
Yeah, right.
So, it's one of the coolest secrets ever. And they've always, try to follow that up in the other Mega... I think X2, you can get the Dragon Punch, the Shoryuken, which is alright, you did it once, and it was amazing. Now you do it again, and it's, alright, cool, whatever. But it's, man, getting the Hadouken in Mega Man X is one of the coolest things ever. But boy, have I heard this song a lot. So here is another sort of an outlier, but it fits way more than the Password stage. Here's Armored Armadillo stage. Enjoy. Seriously, I think that's low-key one of the best songs in the whole game. Just from a pure composition standpoint, it really is impressive when you think about it. Obviously, something gets taken away, and it's not for me. It doesn't get taken away from me because I just adore the way this sounds, even the silly instrument and everything. But something gets taken away from the fact that it is this sampled electric guitar sound. But it's one of those ones that you can really imagine being played on a guitar, like a real instrument, as it's being played here. It's so organically written. I love this tune.
Again, it's a butt rock tune. It's got me bopping, but none of it in a bad way. It's just very driving, as is a lot of Mega Man's music. So it sits right in the pantheon of music for them. Good tune. I do like that lead. Dun, 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 dun. Even the quality of what's portraying it, I enjoy too.
The actual guitar.
I don't have much more.
Fair enough. The actual guitar solo of it too. Like this one, a lot of the songs that we've listened to so far, like you think Storm Eagle stage, it's just all guitar solo, you know? This one almost seems like the solo is like an organic follow-up to a lead that happened in the first place, you know?
Right.
And it's one of the things I like so much about this tune. It's freaking winner, man. Winner, as far as I'm concerned, gets all the chicken dinners, gets all the Storm Eagles, fry them up.
Wow. Isn't it a robot?
Beats me. Just word barfing. So let's move on to launch Octopus stage. This is a tough stage, but it's got some cool sea monsters in it, so I like it a lot. And launch Octopus is also funny because on the box art, on the American box art, he's purple, and in the game he's red, so that's neat. And he also gives you a whole when you get to the fight, he points at you with one of his tentacles, and then points down like you're going down. He actually kind of trash talks you a little bit like that. But this is another cool one. So here's launch Octopus stage. Enjoy. So, I kind of feel like this song is the biggest victim of its own edginess.
I'm laughing because it's so true.
Those big beefy orchestra hits are a tad overused.
Perhaps.
And the big slap bass they got going on, to an extent, I almost wonder if the way it sounds was kind of an intentional water theme sound. It does sound kind of underwatery almost in the very beginning, because it's taking that slap bass sound that this game uses, but it's lowering it so much that it sounds just kind of goofy. But outside of that, I still think at its core it's a very well composed song, and I enjoy listening to it. But when you're listening to it critically, it is kind of hard to get past the orchestra hits in particular. They were such a 90s thing, and this song was just nah, let's just slather on more of those, huh? How many more of those you got? Put them in.
You got room? Oh, we got room. We'll make room.
Orchestra hits. I can do this all day.
I can do this all day, kid. I mean, okay, so I'll agree with you. It's a level of cheese that I wasn't expecting per se, but I like cheese, both physically and metaphysically. It's fun. It has a fun feel to it. Again, it's in the butt rock zone, so I have a wee bit of a soft spot for it. But otherwise it's a good track. Sure, critically speaking, those orchestra hits are something else. Because yes, you're right, they are very indicative of the '90s. We hear songs from the '90s, video games that are hip hop, air quotes hip hop, and they exist in there, and you're just like, oh, who thought that was accurate? It was like they heard one hip hop song in like 1994. All these hip hop tracks were coming out and albums and artists, and they heard one song. And they're like, "That's hip hop. We got it. Good to go."
They're the people who think rap music always starts with "My name is blank and I'm here to say."
Yes. It happened once, and everyone's like, "That's how it happens all the time."
So that's rap music. I understand now.
You identify yourself and what you need to say. Got it. I'm ready. So yeah. Orchestra hits. There's even early industrial music. Because I personally feel like industrial music is, rap and hip hop for metalhead. Even some of that stuff consists of orchestra hits, and it's like, ooh, good. So, yeah. But anyway, not terrible. I'm not like, how dare they? Even though part of me is like, how dare they?
Really? The audacity of this track.
Yeah, who the hell are you?
It's earned it. It earns it.
Yeah.
All right, we're on to the last actual stage theme, and that goes to Boomer Kwanger.
Right.
I get everyone. I get Penguin, Eagle, Mammoth, Chameleon. I even get Mandrel, Armadillo, Octopus. I have no idea what a Kwanger is.
I'm going to look it up.
You do that. Let's listen to the music, and you look up Kwanger. Tell us all about it when we get back. Here you go. Enjoy. Oh, did you say you wanted more orchestra hits?
Son of a bee sting.
They're handled. I just think they're handled so much better in this song, and there's so much less of the song. Like it kind of gets them out of the way, and then it gets to some actual really good stuff. Whereas they were this weird kind of flourish in the Launch Octopus stage. They're actually not doing a great job of providing the melody in the beginning, but I find them so much more tolerable because of how good the rest of the song is after that. Mm-hmm. And this one plays out, I think, more like much more like a traditional. Come on, brain, you can do it. Mega Man game, traditional.
Okay.
What's that guy's name? He's a robot. He's super Mega Man. There it is. It
doing the soundtrack for X. I mean,
it could have looked anywhere on my screen to see the words.
Literally.
Good times.
So,
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say I found out what a Kawanger is.
Oh, talk to me. What the heck is a Kawanger?
So, according to a subreddit group, the general consensus is that a Kawanger is, well, someone first says that a Kawanger is a type of beetle, but it's like a how do I put this? Where did I read this? Heck, yeah. So right, yeah. So basically, what they were saying is in Japan, all the boss names are and I use the word that is written here. All the bosses have word salad names that are sort of reworked words to sound like actual names. It's hard to explain, but he's Boomer Kawanger in Japan. Sting Chameleon is Sting Chameleon, and Chili Penguin is Icy
Pegwigo. I know that one.
Yeah. So thank you, because I wasn't going to be able to pronounce that. So then someone chimes in and says, the name is sort of a bastardized romanization of the word Kawagata, which is the Japanese translation for stag beetle.
Oh.
So everyone kind of said the same thing, where it's like, oh, I could see it being a beetle. I could see kind of, in some of the, a stag beetle, because if I'm looking at some of the artwork here, he's got like these sort of antlers, air quotes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I could see that as a thing. So if you go along with the idea that Kawanger is a bastardized version of Kawagata, which is the word for a stag beetle, then there you have it. It's a stag beetle.
That makes sense to me. Thank you. I remember the first time I had ever seen anything related to this game was in a magazine, and they had all the Japanese names in there. Mm-hmm. And I remember seeing Icy Pegwigo and just being like, What the heck? What is that? I love it. Like Storm Eagled or something like that, or
right.
Yeah, they were all over the place, and I thought they I didn't realize that they weren't actually the words, like they were mishmashed versions of the words. I thought they were just like somebody just literally wrote down the Japanese sounds in English and called it a day, because what the heck did I know?
Yep, did it. Mission accomplished. Check mark. Punches out. Goes home. Got it.
Done.
Yeah.
Mission accomplished.
The best.
All right, we're entering the home stretch here.
Yes, sir.
We've still got a decent chunk of songs, because, like I said, this is a beefy one. But hey, what the hey? All right, so let's do the boss music, because we have to do boss music. Boss music is what we do. So this is a pretty solid boss song. Let's give it a listen. Enjoy. Go. Some boss music right there.
Yeah, buddy.
Spent a lot of time on that song, because what's it? The Chill Chameleon, the Sting Chameleon boss battle is pretty time consuming when you don't have special weapons. So yeah, I like that tune a lot. It's good, really good boss music.
I really appreciate that descending. Dun, dun, dun. I love stuff like that in what do you call it, in music, especially for thematic situations like boss battles, or you have a specific thing that's happening. Like I feel like those chord progressions exist in stuff where you're like you're either fighting a boss, a la this one, or you're like escaping something. Like I feel like things like Metroid, where you're escaping a crumbling ship or dying planet or whatever. Sonic the Hedgehog and stuff like that too, where you're on a timer. I feel like it presents itself with a sense of urgency, that particular piece. Those descending chords. I really enjoy that.
Yeah, the whole thing is really just comes together really nicely. It's got that a very, very intense feel. You're right, the whole the descending thing was very cool. It's very effective boss music. I like it quite a bit. And it even handles its orchestra hits well.
Oh, boy.
All right, let's move on to the Sigma stages. We've got Sigma Stage 2, then some Sigma boss music, and we're out. So let's go with Sigma Stage 1.
Yeah.
X equivalent of Dr. Wily stages. So enjoy. That definitely follows in the footsteps of the classic Wily stage tunes, where it's like kind of it's a pretty different tone from the rest of the game, but still kind of matches, if you know what I mean. I like that one a lot.
Yes, the Wily stages have always, for me, set up a kind of mental existence. Like I'm inside the castle now. I'm inside the walls. Like, it's serious now. This is really, like, this stuff was serious before, but this is really serious now.
This is the end game.
Yeah, right. End game has always got a different mindset for me. Anytime unless you're GTA 5 and the end game just sneaks up on you somehow. True story. But anyway, end game definitely has a different vibe to it, and this is no different, but absolutely true. It stays in that thematic scope of the Mega Man X music, but as well as the Mega Man series of music. So yeah, I think it's very, very well done. Big fan of these parts.
Yeah, this one felt really fun to listen to get to this stage. You finally have all your abilities and you're ready to tackle it. But it also gave you the opportunity to, like older Mega Man games. Yeah, after you beat a stage, like, all right, I'm gonna go back and find some more power-ups because this stage kicked my butt, kind of a thing. But
yeah,
has a really good feel to it. So let's keep going with Sigma Stage 2. I like this one. I feel like this next one does everything that first one does, but even better. So I really like this track. Here's Sigma Stage 2. Enjoy. So kind of on a similar vein, you know, it's got that a kind of a different feel, less actively energetic, you know what I mean?
Sure.
But it definitely feels a little bit more menacing as you're a little bit closer to, you know, the end game here. I like that. I like that one a whole lot. I've always liked that song.
I'll definitely agree with you. It certainly has a more menacing vibe. I actually get a bit of Castlevania from it, probably because of the pipe organ.
Okay, yeah, all right. Oh, yeah, that part in particular. Yeah, I never really thought of that, but I get that.
But overall, a lot of fun. I actually like the tone and the timbre of this one. I like the tempo too. I like that it's a little slower. Because I think, as I said before, I think that there's a lot of intentional, you know, speed to this game. And a lot of games like this, a lot of these action adventure platforms and stuff. There's a lot of intentional speed to it. But sometimes I really appreciate when they take the moment to dial it back and slow it down a bit. Because I recently found this out. Some psychologist was talking about how people watch TV nowadays. Now that streaming's a thing, we binge a lot of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if a show that's, let's say something like a Breaking Bad, right, where it's got a lot of like heavy themes and a lot of deep adult storylines, and there's a lot of like suspense. Someone who's anxious, let's say, will binge like 2 or 3 episodes, and when it's over and they're like, I can't watch anymore, it's because they physically cannot watch anymore. Their brain is so mentally exhausted from all the anxiety-inducing suspense and the heavy themes. So why not? What's to say that doesn't happen in a video game too? You get a game that's pounding music from start to finish. When it's all done, you're wiped out. Like as a person, you just don't have anything left in the tank.
Yeah.
So I talk about dynamics in music. Why not have dynamics in a soundtrack? You know, this is a perfect example of like, you've made it this far. Like, let's slow down for a second. You know, okay, cool. Because then, you know what, and I'll bring in another, industry secret / technique. When you watch a film, especially nowadays, modern age film, like let's think of something big like a Transformers. And this happens in music too. When like metal bands want to emphasize a big breakdown, and Michael Bay wants to emphasize a giant explosion. Because we have sound level caps, you can't go above a certain bunch of decibels because you'll either destroy equipment, you'll injure or endanger the audience. What they do is there is a literal like second, like a half a second, a frame, whatever you want to call it. There's a bit of silence because your brain recognizes that silence and everything gets quiet, and it creates the bigger explosion, the bigger breakdown, the harder hitting stuff. So I feel like this track is that moment of silence. It slows down. Because then when I hear it and I recognize it, I go, something bigger is coming. Something bigger is coming. Absolutely. So, bravo. Like, period. This might be my favorite track so far.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm glad you like that one. I love it too. For pretty much all the reasons you said, you just summed it up perfectly. The way that it matches it really brings the focus down, because this is one of the trickier stages to platform your way through, and it really kind of directs the player's focus to what they're actually doing, and keeps this more in background instead of, you know, just banging your head because the music's so, you know, gut-wrenchingly butt-rocky awesome. And this is just the goodness right here. All right, so we've got 2 left. I skipped Sigma Stage 3 because it is boring and repetitive. So let's go right on to the Sigma boss music. This one's a quick one because this is the first fight you get in with Sigma before he goes to his final form, which is slow and methodical and super powerful. But this is where he just busts out his lightsaber and just starts flying at you and is super exhilarating. And boy, this is the buttiest butt rock of them all. So get your butts out. Here's Sigma version 1. Enjoy. I mean, what do you even say about that?
Yowza. I really wasn't expecting that, like, that real punk breakneck. Like, I was not expecting that one bit.
It's super effective. I mean, if you've never gotten that far in the game, it is just super effective when it happens. Because, like, first you fight his dog, which is fun when you get there with the Hadouken, because the dog will just jump at you, and if you time it right, he just jumps at you and immediately one-hit kill the dog, and then he's like, all right, fine, and then you one-hit kill him. It's a good time. But yeah, he just busts out his lightsaber, and the way he starts the fight is by dashing at you full speed across the screen, and it really, really matches. It's so effective in its moment, and especially as the fight drags on, if you don't do it super fast, the longer it goes, it gets very grating, and I mean that in an intentionally good way. Like,
right,
it keeps the intensity up, so it makes it hard to kind of focus on being calm and taking your shots where you can. So, yeah, it's not a song I listen to on its own very often, but it is a song that works within the context of the game, I think, very, very well.
Yeah, I love a lot of, like, I don't know what you would call that kind of punk, but, like, I love a lot of that stuff too, but it does get kind of grating after a while.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's moments, I love this song, and then, like, who was really good for that was, like, Pennywise and stuff, like some West Coast punk from the late 90s, early 2000s. It really takes me back. And then even some, like, post-punk hardcore, and they took a lot of that stuff. But, yeah, I couldn't imagine listening, because that's a short loop, too. At least with, like, a Pennywise song, there's a verse, a chorus, and maybe, like, a breakdown or something. So you're like, all right, I'm all versed out. Let's go to the chorus now, or, something like that. This is just, over, and then I do appreciate the
yeah.
All things aside, it's a fun track, like, so.
Yeah, very fun, very effective. Good times. Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, and that brings us to our last track that we will be discussing, which is the Sigma Final Form. This is, he turns into a giant wolf monster.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
It's kind of goofy. Like, the wolf monster itself is pretty cool, but the way it works is, like, you beat Sigma, and then his head's on the ground, and then his head just kind of floats up, and he's got this goofy-looking head that just sits in this wolf creature monster in the background, and then you have to fight that. So, but it is interesting, very epic sounding final boss music. So here it is. Give it a listen. What'd you make of that one?
what I appreciate about that one is there is a sense of pomp and circumstance to it. Almost like, I feel like, how do I say what I'm seeing in my head? Almost like you're like, it's definitely final boss music. Because it has a sense of, like, regalness to it. There's, like, the military drumming. Dun, 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 dun. There's very, a very structured piece there. And the music kind of follows suit, but, you know, with, like, the strings and the horns. And so I think the horns especially give me, like regal. But definitely a vibe of, like, yeah, this is the ending. This is definitely, like, the last big thing I think I need to do. It gives a sense of authority. That's the word I'm looking for. There's a sense of authority to A, what's happening, and B, who you're squaring off with. And I think it's brilliant. It doesn't necessarily I don't want to say it doesn't necessarily match the vibe of the game, like of everything we've listened to prior, but it definitely matches. I think it does a great job of doing what it needs to do, which is spelling out for the audience, like, yeah, this is the big time now. This is it. You know?
It is appropriately epic.
Appropriately epic. I could have said all of that in 2 words. Thank you, Kris.
You're very welcome.
So it's such a good track, though. Real solid.
Yeah, very, very well constructed. It almost makes me... It definitely matches the feeling of fighting something much larger than yourself, which is what you're doing at the time, and it really hits the mark. It's also followed by an extraordinarily moody piece, which, I mean, I can't play every single song. And I had to choose
that out on your own.
I had to choose one of the 2 ending songs to go out on, and I chose the one. Sorry, there's actually 3 ending songs, and the third one is the most bizarre. So, like, the ending works in 3 stages. The first one is like X standing over a cliff, and all these words are going on the screen talking about how, like, he will always know war. How long will his pain last? And it's like, wow, this is dark.
Edgelord.
Yeah, very, very much, teenage angst in video game form. But then the second one is the staff roll. Not really the staff roll. It's like the in-game credits of all the characters in the game, where they're showing off all the bosses and stuff. And it's got a really, really good, also edgelord kind of like anime, I don't know, edgy rock and roll kind of tune, but it's one that really stuck with me and it really tugs at the heartstrings. I like that one a lot. And that's the one I wanted to go out on. And then there's like the third ending one, which is these like goofy credits songs. It sounds like lounge elevator music, which is, it's even more out of place in that password tune. It is bizarre. So yeah, you can seek that one out on your own if you like. But yeah, that's the Mega Man X soundtrack. Just about all of it. This is a pretty beefy episode, but I had a good time.
I'm a big, like I said, I'm a huge fan of this game, art direction, the actual gameplay and stuff, but definitely the soundtrack. I find a lot of the times that when we cover games that I've played before, the soundtrack doesn't stick with me all that often. I was just telling a friend of mine, like, oh yeah, I'm still working on the podcast with my friend. We do video game music. And, how's that going? I was like, well, I think I'm the worst co-host ever because when I play video games, music is almost oblivious. Like an oblivious thing to me because I get so locked into the game that it becomes just background noise, kind of the way I read to music without lyrics. But I love that I'm able to come back to a lot of the games that I played before and be like, oh, wow, this stuff is great. Like, I'm not being distracted by the game. So
it is one of the fun things about this show, and I do think it makes you a particularly good co-host in that respect, is that you have this opportunity to, even if you've played the game before, you are experiencing the music in a different context than you do before, and makes for a good conversation piece.
I mean, it's just easier for me to be self-deprecating, so... I mean, I recognize what I bring to the table. I bring to the table words like butt rock. I mean, like, come on, man.
I have always loved that phrase, and I use it as often as I can.
Yeah. Oh, it might be you that I got it from then, because butt rock, I was reading an article about a band that I like. I'm not like the biggest fan. I really appreciate the lead singer's voice. Like when it comes to like full bands and stuff, I think I gravitate towards the vocal styling. So there's this one band, I'm gonna leave the name out, and I was reading an article about them, and someone was like, yeah, this is butt rock, and then a bunch of people were like, yeah, butt rock, and they named like a bunch of other bands that I was like, hey man, what are you doing? So I don't, if you're out there and you know what the term butt rock means for like metalheads, I mean butt rock here, like this is some fun, butt shaking stuff.
Yeah, just a really kind of, I don't know how else to describe it. It works for a certain kind of music, and
yeah,
it's not always an endearing term, but it certainly can be. I first heard it on the Nintendo World Report, Radio Free Nintendo podcast. Jonathan Metz described the soundtrack of Excite Truck as butt rock, and I was like, that is exactly what that is. I don't know what it means, but that articulates this music perfectly. So.
That's so funny.
Good times. Alrighty, well, that just about wraps this up for us. This was fun, revisiting an old one, an
Absolutely.
oldie. Goodness gracious. I ordered this soundtrack on vinyl, which should be coming out in August. I'm so excited about it.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, there was this website that did, I don't know, there's a while back they released a like Mega Man Ultimate box set vinyl thing that was like a couple $100, and somebody sent me a link to it. It's like, that's neat. I mean,
yep.
I can't possibly consider spending that kind of money on it. Also, it doesn't have all of the soundtracks. It has Mega Man, it had like 1 through 10 or whatever, but after like 2 and 3 were the only ones that they had the full soundtracks for. In fact, I think 2 might have been the only one they had the full soundtrack for, and then all the other games was just like best of, and they didn't include my favorite tracks from some of them.
So how could it be the best of then, huh? Tell me.
Exactly. It's all a matter of opinion. But then this same company was like, all right, we're going to do this one, which is Mega Man 2 and 3. So it's just the full soundtrack to Mega Man 2 and 3. Okay.
I love it.
That's my favorite, the whole series. That's it for me. So perfect. And then they did another one that's it's going to be just Mega Man X, the first one. Okay, you got me. You got my money. And we weren't like insanely expensive. It's just one's a double record and then the other one's a single record. And I pre-ordered the heck out of them. The artwork on them looks amazing. Remastered those soundtracks. I will absolutely listen to those soundtracks. So, hooray!
I appreciate that you said I pre-ordered the heck out of them. Like, I pre-ordered it so hard, man.
It was smoke coming off my mouse.
Woo! You don't even know.
I didn't just lightly pre-order it.
No.
Mash that subscribe button.
Know.
Yeah.
Smash that subscribe. Like, stop. Please stop. Stop it. Nobody's smashing that.
I'm going to start saying that on all my videos. Smash that subscribe button.
You know how expensive this mouse was? I'm not going to do that.
Seriously, I like this mouse. I got the...
Yeah.
I hate the way it charges. I have that magic mouse that's like... It's a great mouse, except you can't use it while it's charging because the plug sticks out of the bottom like it was designed by a lunatic. But anyway, podcast for another podcast. That's our show. Join us next time. We'll be continuing this trek into familiar territory, but this time with a twist. Matt and I will be revisiting the 3rd episode of WaveBack, but instead of re-listening to the Sega Master System classic Wonder Boy 3 The Dragon's Trap, we'll be listening to the amazing remake soundtrack, Wonder Boy The Dragon's Trap. They dropped the 3.
Love that soundtrack, and I am so excited for this episode.
Oh god, me too. I remember.
I cannot wait.
I remember the first time I played you a track from it before you got the game was during the Halloween episode.
Yep,
that song is so good.
All I needed was that, and then I looked up the graphics, and I was like, "Yep, I'm in. Let's do it."
Sold. Oh
my
god, such a good game.
Right.
The original's great, but the remake.
We'll talk about it in the next episode.
We sure as heck will.
Yes.
All right, we here at the WaveBack Podcast are incredibly grateful to everyone who listens, and we love communicating with you when we can. We have a couple of ways you can do that. There's the Geekade Discord channel, in which we have a WaveBack chat where we frequently discuss all manner of stuff relating to video game music and whatever our next episodes are going to be. And we also have a WaveBack forum page on Facebook, which I rarely check, but you can still find it by searching for WaveBack on Facebook. Of course, you can always still send us an email at mail@geekade.com, and while you're at it, check out all our other social media channels, which you should totally follow, like, and subscribe to if you haven't already, and be sure to check out all the other great content we have on our site, over at geekade.com. Matt, do you have
Yes, sir.
anything fun to promote?
No, I do have a message, however. It was sent across my desk from the enigmatic M the Mercenary.
Right.
He wanted to let everyone know who is listening to the Waveback that his defeat at the Transgalactic,
Yes.
yeah, sorry, his penmanship is terrible. His defeat at the Transgalactic Uno Cup is not indicative of his skill level at anything. And he also says that he will destroy the Best Lord.
Oh my goodness.
Next month, I believe they said the 26th. That's what's here. The 26th is the next monthly battle for the Transgalactic Uno Cup, and M the Mercenary will be there. And it looks like he doesn't want the cup. It says he told me he doesn't want the cup. He just wants to defeat Best Lord. Doesn't matter.
He just wants to fill it with what's left of the Vest Lord.
Perhaps. I mean, he's crazy. He might actually drink whatever's left of the Vest Lord. I don't know. He's an intense guy. I'm gonna be honest. He kind of scares me a little bit, but I'm on his good side. Kris, you're on his good side, so we're good.
Oh, that's good. I was rooting for him.
Yeah.
I was rooting for him during the last one.
Thank you for reminding me. He appreciates you.
Oh,
and
well,
he appreciates what we do here. So
happy to be of service.
I think we have to keep doing this until either he dies or we die. I don't know. So,
fair enough.
Let's move on.
Whichever one goes first.
Whichever one goes first, yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and throw in a plug for... I think I talked about TikTok last time, so...
yes.
I am attempting to throw up a couple more Waveback Overplay one-shots, because it's been such slow going, but I had an idea for an easy one for me to make. I just listened to a bunch of them last night. I was like, man, this is such a cool project. I wish I had more time to devote to it. So I'm going to try and get some up there. So if you haven't checked them out, that's where I take two different versions of the same video game song. I play them on top of each other. I think it's a fascinating experiment. Clearly nobody else does, but I'm going to keep doing it. Waveback Overplay
I find them fun.
on YouTube.
I find them fun.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. All right, check them out. And that is it. We're going to leave you with the second ending theme from Mega Man X. It is a wonderful guitar tune, and I hope it gives you wonderful joy for the rest of your day. Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a good one.